Cooking Cronies, Diana here. Today I'm excited to share with you a recipe that I put together for beef tips and gravy, and it's just using mostly of what I had on hand and some stew meat that was on sale at King Super. So I made it with 3 pounds of stew meat, but what I ended up doing after the fact, after our meal, was I put the rest of it in a freezer container so that we can have another meal later on and we don't have to eat the same thing for several days. So here's the ingredients. I have 3 pounds of stew meat, salt, pepper, and garlic powder to your taste. You know me, I like a lot of garlic powder, so therefore I use more than most people. I have 1 onion and I sliced it very thin. The Maripo blend, which is your carrots, celery, and onion. I used a whole bag of that. 2/3 cups of flour, 2 whole bay leaves, 1 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of kitchen bouquet. If you don't have that, that's great, but I always keep that on hand. And then a package of egg noodles. And so I began by adding oil. I used probably 1/4 of a cup of vegetable oil in my Dutch oven in order to brown my meat. So I browned the meat. I put it in a single layer so it wasn't steaming. I seasoned that meat with salt, pepper, and the garlic powder. And then once it was brown, I took it out and put it in a bowl. Then I added the Maripo blend and stirred that around. Now, it was frozen, so I added that to my pan very carefully and just used the juice and the oil that was left in the pan from browning the meat. Once the Maripo had thawed out and was condensing a little bit and browning a little bit, then I added my flour. And I stirred that in with that mixture and let the flour cook a little bit so I didn't have a floury taste. I used 1 box of beef broth, and I believe it's 2 pounds of beef broth, and cooked that with the flour. And it got a little thick, so I added a couple of cups of water. Now, as that started to come to a simmer, I used an immersion blender to chop up and make my broth, my gravy, a little more creamy than chunky. So I did use my immersion blender for that. And once I got the gravy to the consistency that I wanted, I added the kitchen bouquet and 2 bay leaves, and I just let that simmer, come to a simmer, and then I put my meat back in and covered it and let it simmer for about an hour. This recipe took probably, including the prep time, about an hour and 45 minutes. And before my company arrived for dinner, I put on a pot of water so that I could cook egg noodles. And then I put the beef tips and gravy over the egg noodles and served it with a vegetable on the side. So it was delicious. My dad enjoyed this recipe. He actually had seconds, and I sent him home with some, so he had some for another meal. And the rest of it I put in a freezer container and put it in the freezer so that when we go camping, I have a quick and easy meal. So I hope you all enjoy this recipe. Give it a try. Let me know what you think, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell so that you get notification when we do have a new recipe, and I hope you enjoy it. Take care, and God bless.